Hi. Um, I think I start all of my videos like this, as I said already once. I don't know how to do it differently. The other day, I spoke a little bit in my video, and I mentioned how we're taking life too seriously. And a friend of mine told me that, well, she was passing through some trouble, and she said that it meant a lot to her when she heard it. Actually, she just got reminded of it, that we're taking life too seriously. Life is well, I get it why we take it seriously, and I was thinking about it, and I think that I think I can pinpoint the issue. Why are we taking it so seriously? Okay, of course, because it looks real, and it really is real. But more in general, I think it is uh, because we don't believe in reincarnation. Now, just this little slight pause before I pronounced it, I was actually thinking if the people who believe in reincarnation actually have less troubles. Are they taking life less seriously? And even if it is in their culture, maybe they don't really include it. I don't know. Yeah, I must. So I started my language school, and I have there's a lot of people from different countries around the world, from different continents, and I'm loving it. Well, we've been together just a couple of days, so I didn't get the chance to ask them all of the questions that I would actually like to know about their countries, the system, and so on. For now, we are meeting each other, getting to be comfortable with each other, so I'm maybe more interested in their personal lives, but of course, not in too many details, trying not to enter in too many details, just like that, the first conversation. So I think there must be, yeah, surely some that have reincarnation in their religion. But I wonder, in their beliefs. But yeah, I wonder, do they really feel it? Now, what am I thinking of? If we take reincarnation into everything, then we are also including some kind of soul contracts, or yeah, soul contracts, or what we came here to do to each other as well. And I was thinking, could you still love somebody? So could you not be mad at the person that is seemingly hurting you? There is this great story. I think it's from the book of Neil Donald Walsh. In Croatia, it was told by Ana Bucevic. She is one motivational speaker. And I mean, I heard it from her, and I think it's from Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God. And it goes two souls. So after, in between of the two lives, one soul says to the other, I heard that forgiveness is such a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful feeling. Could someone go back with me and hurt me so I can forgive you? And since it is a little tricky, one soul replied, okay, I will go with you and I will do something that horrible to you, but please, I'll do something that horrible to you, but you must forgive me. Please don't forget we had this agreement. So if we do believe in this, if you are following my channel, if you are following the path, if you are believing in it, if you are including it, then you should include this as well, that the people that hurt you are here for a purpose, that you shouldn't be mad. And I even took this to one extremity. Somebody that, we can say that in wars or in a street or no matter where, could you love the person that is trying to kill you? Could you love a person? I mean, I was in war, we were bombed, so it was kind of horrible thing. we were bombed by them. And a lot of the people I know died. More about this you can see in my first videos, from the Yugoslav refugee to the universe, because there's another interesting, important information about this I'm trying to transmit. But there again, behind it stays as well that we are all souls with soul contracts as well, and we came here to do stuff to each other, to teach us. So, could you still love a person or people that are trying to kill you? So that's actually how I got into this, and in general, that life, actually how we take it. Even if you are unemployed at this moment, on this course, I spoke to some. Dutch, Netherlands is not their Moedertaal. They don't speak it well, just like me. And the thing is, if you're trying to find a job, if you're trying to get employed, you need to have it. You need to have actually the paper that you finished the first degree. And one colleague of mine, she told me her husband cannot work now because he has some health issues, and she's also not working and she cannot get a job because of that. So it's a serious stuff, and they have kids. So I know I didn't say anything yet because that's not the point for now, because I also considered it a serious stuff. But I don't know if there's a meaning to everything, and the things that she is specialized in, it has something to do with my future, what I intend to maybe one day. So I was thinking, you're my girl, we'll be working together. But I am still unemployed, I'm pregnant, there's nothing on the... But so in some days I do freak out, definitely. Because I'm depending on my partner. I mean, I was an independent woman. I was earning like, it doesn't matter, but I was earning a lot as a guide in Dubrovnik. And it was weird to me. But I believe there's a meaning to everything. And no matter how it goes, that... there is a meaning to it, that there is a lesson in it, that there is that is the path my soul chose, no matter how it ends and no matter how it looks like. So I can be calmed because I truly believe in all of this. About the reincarnation, how I got convinced, let's say, those are all the things that I told you about my partner, that I remembered. I believe that all of those synchronicities, which I said, that they're actually rememberings from the past life. So I don't know for which reason we met. For the moment we are partners, but what is the purpose of it? Because I don't believe that all of the people, all of the partners are here to stay. They are here definitely to teach you something. Some are just the path to somebody else, like it was my previous relationship, and I learned a lot in my previous relationship. So I can take life less seriously. My conditions are different, definitely, than others, but I believe that that's what we chose. So I don't know if I have this belief because of my past experiences. Just a moment. My partner came, so I had to pause. I continue. Here on my laptop I have prepared some parts from my lecture. If you saw my first video, from the Yugoslav refugee to the universe, I mentioned there that I'm writing a lecture. I have no idea. Actually, I wanted to have all of the information on one place. First of all, we're under wrong impression that reincarnation is something coming from the East, because it was actually common in all of the cultures. We lost it in the 4th century. I mentioned that when Constantine was editing which books will enter the Bible and which won't. That's when they removed all those concerning reincarnation. Pythagoras, for example, in the 6th century BC, he coined the term philosophy. All right, Pythagoras, who coined the term philosophy, he remembered his 8 past lives. And he was also teaching techniques to the others how to remember it. Now, we are not sure what it was, but some kind of regressions, hypnotherapy, something that we still use today. Basically, actually, this belief that we are just flesh without any consciousness is something from the 17th century. It is a Newtonian classical mechanistic. Now, if you watched my previous video, over there I mentioned how one of the synchronicities as we were walking through the town, and in the window, just in the moment when I was taking an apple out of my bag, that I saw in the window Newton and the apple. These past months, so ever since I opened the channel, I have been mentioning Newton so much. So it was actually so funny to me that when I saw him finally there, because it definitely means something. Synchronicities are meaningful coincidences. Apple, apple. And it was Newton, who means something to me because I had mentioned him so many times. So basically, especially in my lectures. In that moment, in the 17th century, they have separated actually soul and the body, actually the material, which became a part of science, and the spirit, which became spirit, or the mind, which became, well, it was too complicated. You cannot make mathematics with it. You cannot calculate it. So they left it to the church. And that's something that we are still living with. The world is still divided in religious people and scientific atheists. That's why I say that there's a path in the middle, this spirituality. Tesla said when science meets spirituality, something like that, that in one day it will progress more than in 1 century, something like that. Nassim Haramein says it, that the spirituality and metaphysics is just physics which we don't understand. So we are on the path of it. I'm talking a lot about physics because it's definitely something. It's a big thing to find out that we're not seeing it as it is. But all right, stick to the topic, Timea. So Max Planck, who's the founder of the quantum physics, he got a Nobel for it in physics. In 1931, he stated, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derived from consciousness." Because, consciousness, and our science is freaked out of this word. Now, lately, they have started actually using it. So, consciousness does not disappear. They say in the moment when we die, we just leave the body. And then I don't know, spirit guides, whoever, what they come, and then you can view your life and you can see it as a play. And you realize who were the characters in your life. You realize who were the people that hurt you, who were the people that were abusing you in your childhood. You realize that you got an agreement. You have suffered your whole life for that. But then, so that's what they were meant to do. You see how we regard. So very often I am considered to be without empathy, but it's just because of this, because I get it. I know how it looks like. That's why I could forgive or even love a person that is hurting me. But I can say that from my point of view, I wasn't molested in my childhood, so it's I know it's different, but these videos are supposed to be maybe also helping somebody that is, if you start viewing everything differently. So I mean, abused. I was abused by, I don't know, something, not in that way, but there was other stuff that was hurting me. Now even the war, if you wish. So I can forgive those people, persons in my life, and those people that hurt me. What I was when I was suffering a lot. I don't talk only about the war. We can talk about the relationships and everything. So I understand what was their point. There, that's it for about that topic. Now let's continue. So it seems that our consciousness stays. And here, actually, Christian people who lost the reincarnation, they say the mediums, that talk with the soul sometimes, that even the best speaking souls, that they in the East, it's like maximum 16 months that they stay, and here much longer, like decades, because we have different beliefs. So that's why I'm talking actually about it, because there I want to remind you of this if it happens, when it happens, just to remember maybe in that moment that, I don't know how it looks like, I will see it, but just to remember actually that you should move on. I don't know. And the second thing why I talk about it is to take more seriously our children when they speak about it. So I held a lecture in Croatia, and a friend of mine came in the break, and she told me, my son, he tells me almost every evening, Mom, I had other mom and dad, and he was like, she's constantly asking him, did he love them more or them? And he says, why are you always asking me that? So it's a bit, they say until they're 2 or 3, actually, they're even more identified to the past life than to the present. He told her that he loved books a lot. He was working in a library. She asked him, were there cars? He said, well, not at the beginning, but later, towards the end of my life, yes, and stuff like that. So what do we do with it? We think they're telling stories. We don't believe in it. But the science there again is also telling us something different. Energy does not disappear. It just passes from one state to another. So they say that even the gender identity, so when you're born as a transgender, if you are in a female's body but feeling as a boy, it remembers from the past life. I mean, it could be, there's a big chance, that's it. They were researchers. There's Ian Stevenson, actually, who was, we can say, the best researcher in that field. And he went to India, and he was going actually in all of those places where reincarnation is a normal stuff. And there are birthmarks. Birthmarks, because, well, the consciousness that leaves the body, actually this body which we have is also created by our consciousness. If you would change your consciousness, if you would be working, I will talk about it in a video named maybe something about placebo, because the heart is the strongest electromagnetic engine. So basically, we are supposed to go into meditation, so to close all of the others, to block all of the other stuff we are receiving, and work on your energy, work on your vibration. The more you imagine yourself in that wished state, like you imagine yourself thin, let's say, for example, thin or healthy. Imagine yourself healthy, meditate on it, but the point is that you feel, how would you feel if you were healthy? So you are supposed to have the feeling of it, and the more you practice the feeling, which is not easy, that's it. It's not about repeating the words, affirmations. You are supposed to be feeling it to affect the nature, but that will be in the video about physics. Now, our mind creates our body. So even in the moment of death, you come out and then you stay with that consciousness, with that energetic body, the body which you are imagining. You don't really have a body. So when you incarnate, very often there's a chance that you might have the same body. Not necessarily, but you might have some D's which they tracked, actually, because they tracked the stories of the kids, what they said. They went to see the medical documents to match it and then to find the person. So they did get to match. So they matched the birthmarks with the dead wounds or some scars, tattoos, or something meaningful to the personality, to that personality. Oh, what happened to me? I'm blurry. Like in that Woody Allen's movie, what does he say? I can't remember. I'm not focused. Yeah, I'm not focused anymore. It's probably because of the light. Now, let's see. So, Alaskan native man had prominent surgical scars. He told he would come back to his granddaughter. She gave birth to a girl with those scars, including the stitch around the wound. In British Columbia, a fisherman told several people that he was, when he was reborn, that he didn't want to have his left hand because he was a fisherman and he hated it. So his granddaughter was pregnant. She got a baby without the left arm who had phobia from the water. Now in that culture, they look for birthmarks for identifying people. Experimental birthmarks, marks that are put on a body close to that or after that with the purpose of following, charcoal O, or with a lipstick. So the birthmarks usually show up in the same, they show up in the same place. But if the baby is not born in that family, then it's difficult to trace it. That's the point. They say there is a theory that that's actually the point of naming people after your grandfather, for example, so that he grandfather or so that he can come back and enjoy in the things that he created. He lived all his life to create something so that he can come back. But it's not necessarily like that. Now, the wars which we're having, so if you're Palestinian, in your previous life, maybe you were Jewish and stuff like that. So the wars and hatings on culture, religion, or whatever, they are very, you get it? Because you're not what you mean, what you think that you are. You are something of one culture, one religion, and maybe, well, probably not you watching this, but, and you hate somebody else, but you were that. You were also that. And not only you were, maybe you still are. But we'll get on that when I get to Myra Kelly. Now this one, the last case with, it's not the last case. This one when it's in the family, so a grandfather without an arm and then the son, so if he had an operation, so it's not genetic, and then her son gets born like that. So the question is there a placebo? Is the mother influencing the baby? So the question is not do these things exist? Are they real? It is, what is it? When I say, is it synchronicity or is a remembrance from past lives? Let's move on. Oh, the father that was molesting his daughter. When the boy was born, he didn't look anything like his grandfather. Big chance that he just didn't want to remind her anymore of that. He abused her psychologically and sexually through the teenager years, was obsessed with her, and they're reborn as her child. He dies 10 years before his conception, before the boy's conception. He dies of lung cancer. The boy was very against smoking. He was even telling other people to stop smoking. He was constantly apologizing to her for the abusing he did. And this allowed them to heal this relationship. I got goosebumps. Now, you can believe it or not, but I always say, if you don't believe in reincarnation, what do you believe? It's the end? Or that we stay somewhere, we go to heaven or hell? And isn't that equally incredible as reincarnation? And reincarnation makes so much sense. When you include reincarnation, it just makes sense. And I'm telling it I'm telling it because I have some, it's either remembering or what. I truly believe it. And as I said in my creation video, that's not the reason why I'm going to jump out of the window now. Why would I stop this? But if necessary, if I accept whatever is meant to be there, because I believe it was agreed, it was a soul contract or whatever. And since my consciousness does not die, my consciousness continues, I will find a way to talk to you. To continue talking. Another friend of mine, a friend of mine, okay, a girl I know, a friend, whatever. So she was saying that she was talking to her daughter, and they were talking like who loves who more. And she said, I love you. The girl said, I love you more. And she said, it's impossible because I know you ever since you were born. So I love you when you were still in my... And the girl said, but I chose you to be my mother. So I know you from before, when I was an angel or soul, something like that. She said, I chose you to be my mother. So cool. About Myra Kelly. Just short this, that a lot of people show phobias from the previous lives. There's another story which I adore. I said it also in my lecture in creation. This girl that, it has nothing to do with phobias, I'm jumping a little bit. She met, I don't know, saw somebody from her previous life who took her to her previous husband, or she told them to drive left, right, and so, and they got at the doors of her ex-husband. So this little girl comes, he opens, and she says she's his ex-wife. So, come on, and it seems out that he got remarried, and she asked him, who did you marry? So when he answered, and she said, that bitch. So I adore that one. And there's a lot of stories like this. The girl remembered the well where she fell in. She traced her previous family. The mother was behind the wall. There were other women coming out, and only when the mother came out, she recognized her. Now, these things were all traced by Ian Stevenson. Google him. Psychiatrist or something, I don't know. So we're talking about scientists and his helpers in these other countries which went on the field wherever there was a story about it, of reincarnation. Myra Kelly, so she was a hypnotherapist who came to the confirmation that time does not exist. So this was an interesting one because, well, you know of many hypnotherapists, and you know how our thinking of time is, even if you do believe in reincarnation. So it is when you die that your soul will become someone else. It seems like the things are more complicated because in the regression, she was sending this person through one life to the other, and she found him in 3 lives, 3 present lives, 3 different persons living at the same time. So there were also some that were the husband torturing his wife, and that wife, a soul that split in 2 parts, or that lives in the same moment two present lives to experience better whatever it is they need to experience. Now, when I heard this, well, first of all, time doesn't exist. You know that from Einstein. You can bend time. You know, when there's something, oh, it seems like forever, and then when there's something good, it just passes so quickly. From Einstein's time is relative is actually the fact that if you went fast, I don't know, went faster than light or whatever, if you go to the space, to the moon and back at that speed, that time will be, you will spend less time than here on Earth. So time is relative. I find it funny when the sailors are going through one time zone to the other and they're traveling back to time or forward to time. I don't know if that's the case of this, if that can be, but it's also time traveling for me. Before I came here, I was at a hairdresser and they're paying parking. Now, I hate to pay parking because we didn't have that before, and they started charging everywhere in front of the supermarkets and so on. I was thinking, come on, I'm at the supermarket. Why do I have to pay this? And it's even more expensive than, and before it was free. So, all right, never mind. 1 hour, I don't know how much. And I was thinking, there's no way I get in time for all the stuff which I needed. I needed to go shopping as well. And as I was sitting at the hairdresser, and she was also late for my appointment. So it was, and I was just thinking, I saw on the wall, actually when she did take me wash my hair and started doing, I turned my head like this, and just above the sofa where I was sitting, it says time does not exist. And I was thinking, okay. And usually if I am late somewhere, I'm trying to change my vibe. So I'm trying, first of all, not to watch my watch. So, because when you watch it, you're fixing reality. So not to watch. And I'm always saying, actually the easiest to me is I will come when I need to come. So that's it. I just calm myself. If I'm late, I'm late. Fuck it. That's it. So I will come when I need to come. Maybe I need to be late because of me being late. I will help somebody laying on the street or no matter what. But as I say, I will come when I need to come. You're never late. You're always when and where you need to be. So that. But the second thing I was thinking. Since we are all one, and you are me and I am you, are we really in the regression seeing other lives? Or we are just entering others' lives, but it's not others again because it's all us. So this is more complicated. 33 minutes, point 3. I stop now here. Enough. Now, that's for now. That's about the reincarnation which I wanted to do. So don't take life, try not to take life so serious. Try actually more to see what you are here to learn. There's a poet in Belgrade. Now, he's my Facebook friend. And he said something, each time you're having difficulties, don't say I'm struggling, say I'm learning. Because in Croatian or Serbian, it's not umjesto, instead of mučim se, say učim se. Instead of I'm struggling, I'm learning. So try to use that. Thank you very much. Bye bye till the next video. Greetings from Timea from Antwerp.